I'm back. Just use the facilities here. It's funny how they change in location on this road. They're everywhere. They could be anywhere. You do know what I mean, right? I do. I don't have to explain that, right? We're in the middle of nowhere. I mean, really, we're not. But I mean, as far as finding a place to take care of your business, whatever it may be, there's a lot of opportunity out here for that. Now, of course, that might depend on what kind of business you're taking care of, but that probably depends on what you need to do and how desperately you need to do whatever it is that you need to do. Because I have found that the severity of the need is in direct proportion to your ability to find any spot. The more severe the need, the easier it is to find a place. And it's in inverse proportion to the embarrassment that you might get caught with your pants down, somewhere, using. And you do know what I mean. So it's kind of a funny thing. But I like to take advantage of this rest stop when I need to. Yeah, they got pummeled. Man. I do hope that I do want to go 27 so that I can avoid the drifts up here on the 125, assuming that they're there. So we'll take a look. It will be interesting to see if this films better than it looks, because it's pretty horrendous. I mean, the sun is right there. It's rattling and everything. Well, that ground's holding it. I'm gonna grab my Cherokee. When I bought it in 2 years old, but it was a sheriff's vehicle, and it had some pretty hard miles on it. And as such, what am I doing with this? It's probably going to rattle too. Maybe not. I spent a lot of time ferreting out. There we go. Oh yeah, that road's nasty. I was looking back at what that looks like. It looks a lot like what we just got off of, but with the drifts hitting it at a bit of a different angle. So I spent like months going through it, and I'd hear a rattle somewhere, and I would fix it. And I'd hear another rattle, and I kept, search and destroy, and I finally got a lot of the rattles taken care of. This car is better put together than the Cherokee was. But it does have some relatively easy to fix flaws. And they're kind of silly. I could probably get some thread locker and take care of most of it. Anyway. Yeah. So, Parkview Mount, can you see it? Yeah, it's over to the left on your screen. That's the big mount that overlooks North Park, where I was planning on going yesterday and filming Cottonwood Pass. But I'll do that another time. We'll see. I do hope that 27 has been maintained at least yesterday. If the maintainer hit it yesterday, we're good. If they didn't, we're probably still good. It will just be a little bit rougher. But yeah, this is an interesting section of the road. When I first did this route, I ended up getting accounts up here that I hadn't had. And I believe I'd been over Cottonwood Pass, but I may not have. If I'd had, it had been a long time, because that wasn't the area that I was concerned with. So my first route, it was quite funny. Had me go, well, funny is not the right word, really. Well, my first route had me going to Granby, then to Laramie, and then back home to Gray. And I did that route one day, and I think it was about a 16-hour day. It was a long route. And the roads were like this in North Park. But it was also, was it early February or early March? It was probably a month earlier. I think that would be right, a month earlier than this. And the road wasn't covered as badly as it is today, but it was still, there were drifts across it, and it was crunchy snow, between here and Walden for sure. Now, at this point, is 8,700 feet in elevation here at Rand. It doesn't really appear that way though. So it's deceiving, it's deceptive, the height here. And I really think Rand is a neat little place. Rand Yacht Club. Someone's got a pretty good sense of humor here. I like the Rand Yacht Club. I also like their sheriff's vehicle. That's pretty cute. Whoever did that, that's great. I love it. I am still in four-wheel drive, and this four-wheel drive is running so nice, I can't really tell that I'm in four-wheel drive. So let's do our 27 and see what it looks like. It's already better than it was last week. Oh yeah, and I have coffee. If I can do it. Oh yeah, this route is a lot better today than it was last week. Looks like we'll have some drifting, but not bad, maybe. Oh yeah, this road's melting off too. We may go a different direction this morning. Just in case I decide to start this video here, let me go through my time and location thing. Time and date. Date is March 28th. This is a Tuesday. Where are me Tuesdays? Time is 7:44 a.m. I have driven 100 miles so far today. We are heading north. That range over to the side, if you can see any of it, is the Zirkles, which we can sort of see today because the clouds are allowing it. The weather is allowing this nice. Yeah, I like this. This is pretty cool. This might be the video this week, this spot right in here. Bit of drift there. Ow. That hurt. So again, 7:45. I've gone 100 miles. We are on County Road 27. We just got out of Rand and we're heading towards the other side of Highway 14. Highway 14 has an interesting shape. If Highway 14 were a cane, a straight cane, not with a curve down, but it's a straight stick, and you were to put it over your knee and break it in the middle, so now it's making an upside down V. That's basically what Highway 14 looks like out here in North Park. As it climbs up the pass, which is over to our right, over the top of Owl Mountain, and over, yeah, to our right. Yeah, the pass is over to our right somewhere. It does twist around pretty twistily. Yeah. And if you're curious about that, look on Google Earth and find Highway 14 and see what it does. It goes through the Poudre Canyon. And it ends up going into Fort Collins. Oh yeah, they got some snow over here this week. This wasn't here last week. Not this gigantic drift. So winter is clinging on here. A bitter clinger. Bitterly cold clinger. Last week I had my old Jeep out here. That was that's my emergency vehicle. I may have recounted this story, but when I got this back out of the shop, because this was in the shop, I took my Jeep to these guys. I really like them. You know, they're decent enough. They've done me really well. And they took a look at my Jeep. And I told them, well, the steering's a little bit loose. Granted, it's a 330,000 mile. Yeah, that's pretty much what's going on right now, 330,000 miles. I have not maintained it in the last 15 years, probably 10, 15 years. I've just been busy doing other things, and I've done the minimum to it, and that's a shame. So now it needs a lot of stuff done anyway. So they gave me a quote of $3,500. So the first thing I said was, well, I could buy a new Jeep for that price. That's what I told the lady that was telling me the quote. I could buy a new Jeep for that price. Not only did I say that, but I said it twice before realizing, well, actually, to make matters worse, I didn't realize that I had said that until after I got off the call. And I'm thinking, oh, wait a second, I can't buy a new Jeep for $3,500 unless it's hot. And it would probably still be a pretty crappy Jeep for that price. What I was thinking and what I was saying were two different things. Because what I was thinking was, I can buy a parts Jeep for that. But I said, I can buy a new Jeep. Now in my mind, I was thinking, I could buy a new, to me, parts Jeep. Right? New to me. So, yeah. And I got this call. I was on the Trough Road, heading to Fraser. Well, I was actually heading to Grimley to be a little bit more specific about where I actually was. Eventually heading to Fraser. So anyway, I thought about this all day, how dumb that was. I went in and talked to them, and I was lucky. I was able to catch the lady and tell her, you know, how it was pretty dumb what I said. Not that she didn't already know what I said was pretty damn stupid. She already knew that. In fact, had I been her, I would have been making fun of me all day. Like, oh, I'm going to buy a new Jeep for $15, or I go on that way, make it more ridiculous than it already was. So, but she was nice. If she didn't do any of that, I don't blame her one bit. But because I deserved it. But if she didn't do that, well, she's a better person than I. Because I would have definitely taken that opportunity to give myself. Uh-oh. I just had a weird thought. You see that old Ford van out there? That Ford van is sitting there, and underneath that snow, behind the windshield, is a for sale sign on that Ford van. And I've been coming by here going, I bet they want a lot of money for it because it's been sitting out there a long time. But then I realized it was a Ford. Maybe it's a later model than an Econoline, but maybe it's a classic. I don't know. But the thought just occurred to me, I have room for another vehicle on my property. I mean, when the snow melts. And a Ford van would be a fun project. That would actually be a pretty cool project. Of course, if it's a classic, you wouldn't want to do what I'm thinking of doing to it if I had something like that. But if I did have something like, let me finish one story. I'm messing up. So back to the Jeep story. But that just drew my attention. Oh well. Temptation comes at you from all sides, right? Oh yeah, they've been here with a maintainer. Great. Good to see. You can tell the road's been maintained. It's very beautiful. Nice and smooth. Clean. But let me just recount to you all the things that they found. First, the steering shaft is really worn. The steering shaft, the thing that I'm assuming is connecting the steering wheel to the steering box, is quite worn. That's not really even a part of the suspension. I mean, yeah. Then the upper and lower A-arms need replaced, or bushings need replaced, or whatever, the joint in the socket, all that is worn. The front brakes are crap, and I definitely knew that. So there's a lot of stuff that needs to be taken care of, and then probably every fitting on the steering every fitting that could wear out is probably need a replacement. So basically the entire front end needs to be rebuilt. Then in the drivetrain, I doubt that I have a U-joint that's worth of crap. Both front U-joints, that connect, the left and the right front tire, they need replaced. And I'm also pretty damn sure that my driveline U-joints are bad too in this Jeep that I drove damn near 1,000 miles in. Oh, over 1,000 miles in the last 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. And the hell of it is that is a great running car, and it feels good going down the road. Once I got the hang of the really loose steering, I'm doing one-handed steering, kind of like I'm doing now. Right now I'm steering one-handed, and I'm drinking coffee, holding my coffee cup. But this car has just been looked at by some pretty good mechanics, and it's running. It feels nice and solid. It's very nice. Anyway, I decided not to have them do the work on that car, because that's what I built that garage for. That concrete pad that has been covered with snow or mud or whatever was supposed to have been a garage, and it was supposed to have been a garage last year. But because of the political corruption in our country and the falsified election in our country that put an imposter into power in our country, and that imposter being a ridiculous communist at heart. You know what we're talking about Crazy Joe. I mean, why didn't they just dredge up the top of the mafia and put him in power? Because Joe's not that different. Look at the stuff that he's accused of. Look at the things he's linked to. And usually where there's smoke, there's fire. So anyway, look what he's done to this economy. Look what he's done to the world. Do you think that there would be a war with Ukraine right now if it weren't for Joe Biden? Do you think there would be a blown up pipeline in Europe if it weren't for Joe Biden? I mean, it's terrible what this guy is doing. Look at, I mean, the carnage that these horrible fuckers in Washington are causing all over the world is embarrassing, to say the least. It's damaging. What they're doing in Europe is ridiculous. What they're doing all over the world is ridiculous. What they're doing to us is ridiculous. So you might say I have some opinions about that stuff. But to rein this back in, this administration, these group of criminals that were in place and that have been installed are doing their best to destroy the energy industry in this country. They want people to not be able to do things. They want people to not be able to go places. They want to shut down the oil industry, not for themselves. They want to have access to it, but for everyone else. Obviously, they do this under the guise of environmental blah, 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 and climate blah, blah, blah. It's all bullshit. We know it. I'm going to take you, by the way, if I can, on a really interesting little, this is kind of like a tour. Like, we're going to make a left turn here, and we're going to go basically 100 years or more back in time. At least for a little while. If this road isn't too terribly bad. It doesn't look too bad. This is just another way to get us up to 125. Anyway, that's why I can't build a garage. The price of lumber is insane. It was higher than it's ever been, I believe. A few months before I was building the garage, I thought it would eventually crash, but it stayed high. It hasn't come down yet. The stock price has come down. The lumber prices should come down, but they're not. They're hanging up there, you know, and it really pisses me off. But I understand that these globalists don't want any resources to go to us useless eaters, as they would like to call us. Which basically, we useless eaters, I put me in that category because I'm not a globalist. And the globalists put everyone in that category if they're not globalists either. Although, knowing that kind of a person and that type of a personality, they probably put the other globalists in that category too. You know? So, I say that this is back in time. Look up on the hill, you might be able to see that. There's an old homestead up there. I hope you can see that. Can you see that up there? Let's back up a little bit. Oh, I can't back up. Okay. There's a cool old cabin up there. I mean, it's so cool, and some barns. Yeah, we'll just keep it where we have it. Yeah, had it backed out for just a moment or two. So I'm doing four things at once. I'm driving, drinking coffee, trying to operate the camera to show you this neat area, and griping about the government. So basically just any other day, right? for me, just a regular day. But I'm not always sneaky with the camera. So I haven't built my garage. I want to bring it all the way back, to reel it all the way back in. I want to build the garage so that I can work on these vehicles, so that I can do that kind of work. And like I told the guys yesterday when I went to pick up my Cherokee, I told them, one of the guys, the guy said, you can do that a little bit at a time if you want. And I said, well, here's what I'd like to do. I'm in the middle of building a garage. I'd like to finish that so that I can do the simple stuff, I like to mechanic. I enjoy it. But there are things I can't do. But if I can do all of the things that I can do, and then let them finish it up, which is basically they would do the alignment portion, of the job. Oh yeah, this is pretty blown over. Another very cool little cabin right there. Let's see if I can. This is such a neat looking little cabin. I probably can't do this. I'll try it. What I'm trying to do is show you how that roof, I think that's wind blown. Take a look at that. Yeah, look at that. I think that cabin roof has leaned over to the right. I don't believe it was built that way. That makes no sense. So anyway, okay. I can get away with this because there's not that many people that I can see on this road. And as you can see, it doesn't look like it's been that well traveled lately, right? Or it's that busy, maybe. So anyway, this is just, there are some really neat old cabins out here. And it is, I love seeing this. People were living, unless that was a barn, some of the cabins we've driven by in the last few minutes, were people's houses 100 and some years ago. Can you imagine? No, I can't imagine. I try to imagine. But think about it. You're out here. You've probably got a gigantic pile of firewood that you cut or you bought that someone else cut. I mean, if you live out here, you're probably ranching or farming, and maybe hunting. I think there are hunter cabins out here, but you're doing everything for survival. There's no trophy hunting going on out here. And you don't have electricity. Maybe you have kerosene, but if you do, it was brought in by a wagon on a road that wasn't nearly as nice as this road. And your main transportation are your 2 feet, or your horses, or your mules, or your donkeys, 4 feet. And the conditions are extreme out here. They're extreme right now. But it's just an amazing thing to think that people wanted to get out here. Maybe YouTube, the people in YouTube that think they can change humanity, turned them into a bunch of communist-loving dickwads. Pardon my French, huh? Oh, now I've upset the French. Is that what I've done? I would say to these people that are putting their big foot on my channel, look at this country. Look how rough, desolate, wild this country is. if you probably can't even imagine, you very pampered little babies who run YouTube and who run Twitter. Well, Twitter's getting cleaned out. You know, the social media and the tech companies. You guys need to understand that people said to society, fuck you, I'm going to go out and I'm going to live here and make a life for myself. And people did that here. And they endured hardship like you can't imagine. And you think you're going to censor people and you're going to shut down dissent and you're going to change the human spirit? You know, yeah. You guys are fucking foolish. I had to put that adjective in there because it needed to be there. Because they are. They're incredibly foolish. Do you think that people that are willing to risk their life day after day for freedom, you know, to live on their own, make their own decisions, and they'll live out here and they'll risk their life and their family's life? Do you think that that's gone in people? Do you think that the spirit to be free has left people and you can just high-tech it out of them? I mean, come on. You're not that stupid. Oh, that's right. You are that stupid. That's right. I keep forgetting. One of the biggest things in common on the left is stupidity. And then the arrogance that they're not stupid. The arrogance that they exhibit when they say, oh, we know what science is. Science shows us that global warming is happening. We know what science is. Science is many genders. We know what science is. You know, we're gods. We know everything. Here's the thing. I cannot tell these people, I cannot wake these people up. They have chosen their path. However, like I said, look at what we just drove through. People longed to get out here and live this way, to get away from the man. Over a century ago, 2 centuries ago, 3 centuries ago. Look what people will endure for freedom. Because that's exactly why there are cabins out here in the middle of this big snowy tundra. And you think you're going to change people? I am quite unimpressed. Yeah, you can go ahead and you can put your big foot down on our channels, but I was thinking about that too. You know, you definitely, I'm speaking about YouTube right now. The guy that's running it right now, apparently he was a guy that shut Crowder down in 2019, and that's when they shut me down too. Apparently because I'm a white guy. So he probably didn't hear my last video where, oh my gosh, I've got African-American blood in me. What does that mean? Well, it doesn't matter because you're still, you know, I mean, that's what they do. It's not that I'm a white guy. It has nothing to do with that. I'm just not a communist. So that guy shut me down. That guy shut so many people down. And they're doing it, and they'll continue doing it until they can't get away with it anymore. But I'm convinced that the more they do it, the more people want to hear what I have to say, what Steven Crowder has to say. Actually, I'm not comparing myself to Steven Crowder as far as popularity. Please understand that. But I'm a conservative, and so is he. And I admire the guy. Because he's fighting the good fight. You know, he didn't cave and become part of Ben Shapiro's little cabal. All right. We are now on Highway 14. And we're quite a few miles up. We've basically been going north up that road. But I did want to see what these roads looked like they're looking pretty good for what they're having to go through. I'm leaving my four-wheel drive in because I do not trust this road, but I'll put some speed on the car. So, YouTube, you go ahead and censor all you want, because you're going to. And the rest of you rotten fucking big tech companies are going to do every shitty thing you can do. And you're doing it because you're evil. You need to understand that we know this. You're not honorable. You're not honest. You're not nice. You are evil. You are simply evil. And when you look at yourself in the morning and you rationalize your ridiculous leftist opinions to yourself, that's what you're doing. You're lying to yourself. And someday, you will have to face, you will have to face these lies. And more than likely, the day that you have to face them will be the day that you're least able to handle it. And you might even look back and realize that God gave you days, weeks, months, even years, decades to do the right thing, and you still refused. You know, we all know the difference between good and evil. Every one of us knows it. You know when you're doing bad things to your neighbor. You know when you're doing bad things to your friends. And you know when you're doing bad things to your enemies. And the difference between you and me is that I try not to do that stuff. I try to be a better person. I try to be a decent person. You don't. You are in on the evil. If this were a movie, you would be, you big tech companies would be part of Sauron's army. Do you understand that? Because you need to understand that. If you think anything differently, you're kidding yourself. I mean, look at The Hobbit. And just make some real quick comparisons. Who was trying to enslave, kill, and take freedom away from all the inhabitants of Middle Earth? It was Sauron. Now, J.R.R. Tolkien wasn't too happy with men either, and I don't blame him. And in the movie treatment, they were even a little bit pickier about the guys. But the point of this is that people on the dark side are evil. You're evil. You do evil. That's what you do. And if you get up in front of the mirror every morning and rationalize that you're not evil, you're lying to yourself. And you are the biggest liar to yourself, bigger than to anyone else. And you don't know how many lives you have. You may only have one life. You may only have one chance to do things right. Of course, that chance might be multiple years of your life. And actually, personally, I hope all of you wake up from your woke sleep and actually open your eyes and try to become good people. And just simply drop your bullshit and try to treat people like you want to be treated. I would love to see that happen. But it's your choice, and it sure doesn't look like you're interested in doing that. And so, to end this little rant, I will just say, it makes me think back to what I call the most serious and the funniest little verse out of the Bible. I think it's out of the Bible, which is, everything is permissible, but not everything is advisable. And that applies to you guys too. That applies to the evil left. You guys think you're above that, but you're not. No one is above that. We are all mortal. Every damn darned one of us. So that's why I haven't built my garage. I kind of like throwing that in there. Some more elk over here. Yeah, throwing the, because I'm trying to speak in big terms, right? Speak. I don't know how I would. I think you understand my thing. I think it failed because I'm trying to point it out. If I'm trying to point out a joke, it probably failed. And so I think I'm the owner of a failed joke. However, I actually mean what I said about all of this stuff. So, pardon my humor, but I do mean that. And I do think the more that it's starting to look, I'm starting to see evidence of that. A lot more people are speaking up. A lot more people are disgusted with what's going on. And I think a lot more people are looking for the truth. And I think the more that YouTube tries to censor, YouTube is the main thing right now because I'm recording a video, and YouTube is presently the #1 place to put a video. But the more they censor, actually, the more they censor, the more they are pushing the other video companies out into the light. I don't think they understand that. They think that they're so big that they're always going to be big. But let me point this out to you, YouTube executives. How many large companies thought they were going to be forever companies? What about Kmart? What about Walmart? What about Sears? What about Ward's? What about JCPenney's? Look at the banking industry. How many gigantic banks? Look at the insurance industry. Look at all these people thought they were forever. And you guys think that too. That's why you think you can get away with what you're doing. But what I'm seeing is you're pushing more people to the alternative websites. And I'm watching, I put these videos on Rumble, and I'm starting to pay more attention to Rumble than I was, because people are starting to view these videos more on Rumble than they were. Now, here's where YouTube has Rumble. I think they've got them pretty good here. YouTube puts videos out in HD and UHD. They will put out a really high quality video. Rumble breaks them down pretty badly. Oh, by the way, this is where last week I hit my brakes about right here. There was a little black Jeep in front of me. I had to get in that lane over there, and I had to turn. I could not stop. And I had followed this Jeep in from Gould, and I paced him all the way there. They probably had no idea what was going on. They probably thought I was just being an asshole and passed him at a stop sign, which is it's a real asshole thing to do, right? But that is that's not what I was doing. I was trying to stop my vehicle. I was standing on the brakes. I was pumping the brakes, and it wasn't trying to stop. So I had to swerve around them. But the way that it looked made it appear that way. And then I turned in to the convenience store right here, and I damn near hit the concrete barricade that they have put up in place to keep people from hitting the building. I damn near hit their building. And that was because of faulty ABS brakes on that Jeep, which, by the way, they didn't catch, but they didn't, they're looking at, when I say they, I'm talking about the mechanics. I think I'm gonna shut this down. I believe that I have probably yelled enough at this camera. Now, can you imagine somebody watching me as well? Okay, nowadays with technology, they might be thinking that I'm on the phone, just a hands-free thing and talking, but it would appear that I'm quite insane if you didn't have that thought in your mind. As I'm going down the road speaking, and when I get going, I gesture a little bit too, so you don't catch that. But imagine that I'm gesturing as I'm making these points. And that's probably what someone driving by might see. Still, people do that when they talk. That's kind of an automatic thing that they do. When they have a hand or two that are free, I mean, I am using one hand to steer. So, if you put up with me all this way, thank you. I'm going to have to start asking people to subscribe and to like, because I see what YouTube is doing. They're putting the big foot down on this channel. They want to squash it right now. I've been through this before, and I can't say for sure they're doing it. Maybe people are just getting tired of listening to me. I'd certainly understand that. But I'm looking at the analytics, and it looks to me that that's like they're doing it. They're just a bit more sophisticated today than they were in 2019. So anyway, like and subscribe. And even if you don't like what I'm saying, even if you're a leftist, still subscribe. Oh, okay, maybe not. Never mind. If you're a leftist, well, you're probably not here anyway. But, yeah. Make it difficult for YouTube to justify their position by saying, oh, well, no one liked your channel. No one was listening. No one was subscribing, or whatever they may do. But, anyway. And really, this is my way of fighting back. And it's not much, I understand that. But it's what I can do right now. So, if you can help, subscribe and like. Tell your friends, all that stuff. Shove this channel under the nose of YouTube. And obviously, it's going to be distasteful to them. But they should be doing things properly. They really should be. And I'm not the only one out there doing this. So I have a bit of hope. Okay, I'm done for now. We'll see you later.